Hello everyone! I'm feeling excited because it's the end of my work day and work week. It is 3:30 in the afternoon and I take for granted having my own business and the fact that at this time of the day, I'm done. I get to go home and although childcare can be quite stressful, having my own family daycare is quite relaxing, really, to be honest. I get to choose my hours and I get more autonomy over how I do things and I can just be myself, really. I don't have to have that constant pressure of getting things done every single day to please other people. I'm not constantly worrying about what other people think. So yeah, I just wanted to quickly share that little bit that I thought it was a good time to make a video. There's no distractions. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. The topic of this video will be 10 reasons we may be struggling with our child. I started to write a blog post. It's getting quite long and I know for myself, I don't like long pieces of reading. I'm going to try and cut it down, but I thought I could make a video for now and that might help me to get it out quicker and easier so that it's not so long. So I do also want to say that something that I have been more aware of lately is that I do sometimes feel quite judgmental of myself and others, and so I want to try really hard to make these videos in a way that reflect the compassion that I have in myself for other parents rather than the judgment. And I was looking over some of my old videos and I can see that I wouldn't change a thing, I wouldn't delete them. I stand by everything that I've shared, but I think that sometimes my message can come across a little bit judgmental, and studying to be a counselor and a therapist, I am learning that working with other people and helping other people is really about putting my values and my beliefs aside to some degree. Even though I'm passionate about my beliefs and my values and my experiences, I want to try to find a balance between honoring that in myself and not imposing that onto other people. I do need to find more acceptance for the different ways that we all parent, and that may take some time for me, but I'm trying, you guys. So anyway, 10 reasons we may be struggling with our child. Now, as I said, when I share these, it may still come across as judgmental, and I can't help that. I'm going to try the best I can. This is based on my own experiences as a mother raising 4 children whom I unschooled for so far 14 years. I've gotten to see 2 different styles of parenting from myself. I've gotten to see different styles of parenting as a childcare worker, and I've done some training on childhood development. So it's all starting to come together to give me a general picture of why parents struggle generally. And when I say what I'm about to say, which is that most behaviors and struggles with children are not about the child having an issue, even though sometimes it can be an issue like autism or ADHD, which I don't really know too much about, so I'm not going to comment on that. But generally, most of our child's behaviors and most of the struggles we face with our children can be traced back to our own parenting style and our own beliefs and perspectives and values ourselves, the way that we think things should go. And so when I say that, I'm not meaning that parents need to put themselves at fault and blame themselves and be hard on themselves. It's more of an invitation to be aware of ourselves as parents and realizing that we may be the cause of our child's behaviors doesn't have to be taken in a negative light. This can be a gift in disguise, a blessing to grow and say, hey, I've come from this place of struggle to this place of strength and growth. And I am grateful that I went through those hardships because it made me stronger and wiser than ever before. So realizing that we may be the cause of certain things is not a reason to blame ourselves and hate ourselves and be down on ourselves. It's a reason to, it's an invitation to start that journey of growth and healing. So I'll try and be brief with these 10 reasons that we may struggle with our child. Got my cup of coffee here. Number 1, I'm going to refer to my notes on my blog. Expectations. So one of the reasons that we may struggle with our children. Now, sorry, to go back a bit, what are signs of struggle? Well, trying to get our children to do things that we want them to do, trying to get our child to listen, and they're not listening, they're not doing as they're told, they're not behaving. It's like they don't hear us. Getting children to do all the things, brush their teeth, go to bed, eat their veggies for dinner, getting the children to, behave appropriately and not be rude and not backchat. So struggle to me means fighting with our child, to put it. There's really no other way of putting it. If we are struggling with our child as a parent, then we are certainly fighting with them in some form. Okay, so number 1, expectations. So if we have a lot of expectations coming into parenting about our ideas around childhood and how children should grow and what they should do, what they should be learning, at what age they should be meeting certain milestones like toilet training, sleeping on their own, sleeping through the night, being out of nappies, talking, learning, getting along with other children, doing as they are told. Like if we have preconceived ideas and expectations of when all of this will happen, we are in for some trouble, I can tell you, because children don't live this way. Children don't live with expectations and a future in mind. They are spontaneous creatures. They act in the moment. They have no idea who or what they're going to be 5-10 years down the line. So it is very hard for them to live up to things that parents want them to live up to when they have no concept of these things. So the more expectations that we have for our children, we also have to realize that milestones aren't always met by children at the same time as each other. Children develop differently at different paces. There is like a generalized timeline, but it can be either side of that timeline. And so thinking, our child is 4 or 5 years old and they're not reading yet, that is not a cause for concern. But if we make it a cause for concern, what this is going to do, having this expectation, is going to drive more control. It's going to drive us to push our children more, force more onto our children, be harder on our children, more. And the more that the children are wanting less. And they will try to communicate this through resistance and defiance and not listening and not doing as they are told, because they don't want to have to meet So many expectations. They are little children. They just want to play and have fun. They don't want to be thinking about the future. They don't want to be thinking about when they need to be a big boy or a big girl. They are just being themselves. And, to overcome this is to really question these assumptions, is to really question these expectations in ourselves. How do I know this is true? Who taught me this? Where did I learn these expectations and ideas about my children? And how can I know that they are real and true? We need to be willing to question them in ourselves and maybe just, ease up a little bit on the things that we are expecting our children to do and when. Number 2, our child is showing boundaries. So another way that we as parents may struggle with our children is when they start to show hard boundaries, like they start saying no. I don't want to go to bed, or no, I don't want to do this thing, or no, I don't want to go to daycare. And, if we take this personally and we call it rude and disrespectful and, disobedient, then we're missing the signs that our child is coming into more autonomy with themselves, with their bodies, with their minds, and, that they have an internal guidance system that's guiding them and directing them. And they really do know more than we think they know about themselves. They know things that they are ready for, and they don't always want to be touched by other kids. So, them saying no and pushing like a child away is a normal boundary, but we may get mad at them and say, don't do that. Like, don't be rude. Give that person a hug, But no, we have to teach children that they need autonomy over their body and they need personal space and boundaries. They need to be able to voice what they want. And if we don't allow this, there will be pushback, there will be struggle, there will be fighting. So to overcome this is to not take it personally when they are saying no or they're back chatting. Because it's not about us. They're not intentionally being rude. They are just speaking their truth in that moment. Number 3, too much responsibility. So a big cause of stress and overwhelm and struggle with parents and their child is there's just too much going on. There's too much routine. It's get up, have breakfast, get dressed, get ready for school. Then they're running around. They got to go to work. They got so much on their plate. Then they finish work. They're going to pick their kids up. They go home. Then there's homework. There's dinner. There's bath. There's bed. There's clean. There's just too much going on. And we don't need this. Like, we don't need to be doing all the things. We don't even need the extra activities, the swimming and the basketball and the running and the... Yes, if our child really wants that. But I can assure you that 9 times out of 10... if children are going to school, Monday to Friday, and they're exhausted and they're tired, there's a good chance that they may not want to do extra activities outside of school. And, if we don't have any time to just be and relax, like, our children are going to misbehave because they need downtime. They need to be doing less, not more. And they get cranky and they get tired. They get, very defiant and resistant when there's so much going on, and they don't even have time to listen to what they want to do, and they can't just sit and be quiet. Most of the time, like, there's always somewhere to go, somewhere to be. They're always rushing, and parents, that's just a huge load on the parents as well. And of course, if parents have so much to do every day, all day, they're going to be stressed. Then their child is going to pick up on that stress. There's going to be clashing, and then the parent, we're going to blame our children and go, oh, they have a behavior issue. But no, there's just too much going on. So take a load off and see where you can cut back on activities and things so that there's just not so much responsibility. Kids need to be able to play as much as they can, direct their own day as much as they can. This will create harmony and peace for both the parent and child. Number 4, difficulty meeting our child's needs. So, if we don't know how to help our child, they have need for emotional connection, physical safety, acceptance, freedom, choice. You know, if they're not getting any of these things met, especially if they're like in an emotional state and we can't be present with them, and instead they're getting into trouble and sent to their room, or we're telling them, you know, shut up, be quiet. We're not letting them to have these tantrums that help them release pent-up emotion. Then they're going to behave badly, because they are going to be trying to get this message across. I have needs, and children don't know how to say this. They don't know how to ask their parents to meet their needs. It is up to us parents to be more aware, to pay more attention, to learn, to explore and research, or seek help and guidance to understand our children's needs and how we can meet them. And the more we can meet their needs, the less they're going to act out to try to get those needs met. Because children, they go like the back door. They go the back way around. They do weird things to get their parents' love and attention. But you know, if we can just take the shortcut and we can just give it to them, then that's just gonna shave off so much stress and struggle. Number 5, missing parents. So a big one is children missing their parents. So if children are, if they're in daycare, you know, like a lot, then they're obviously not spending as much time with their parents. And now, you know, whether it's one or both parents, you know, children, obviously time with both parents is ideal, but they only really need time with one parent to feel secure and, you know, feel good. So if they're like always at school or daycare and they're never seeing their parent, and then like after school, like their parents working late, or like they're always at the grandparents on the weekend, or babysitters, like that's really going to cause problems, because children are going to act out that separation that they're feeling, that they're going to really start to feel that disconnect with their parent. And you know, all children are going to behave better the more time they spend with their parents, despite, you know, the popular belief that kids need to socialize and spend time with other children. They actually need more time with their parent figures than other children in order to build this, you know, safe connection and well-being in themselves. So you know, if your child is struggling and you're doing all the other things and you're just not sure why, it could be that they just need more time with you. Where can you cut back on work hours? When you aren't working, can you be present and have one-on-one time with them? Because sometimes it's quality over quantity. Even if you only have 5 to 10 minutes, make it count, make it really worthwhile. I have a full-time job. I run a business. I raised my kids at home for 10 years until my youngest was 10, and then only when, you know, dad was at home with them did I go and pursue a career and work full time. So they're all older now and they cope really well with this, but when I'm home and on the weekends, I incorporate me time, but I also really make quality time with them, and I really engage with them, and I look at them when they're talking, and I make time to just listen. I make time to just cuddle. You know, I make sure I go to them and show them that I care. I don't just wait for them to come to me all the time. I reach out and I make an effort to spend time with them.